Hi everybody, welcome to 2018. I'm Lisa, this is the Holly Bob's channel. Today's video I'm going to be sharing my highs and my lows of the last 12 months. So let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, if you are not, welcome. My name is Lisa, this is the Holly Bob's channel, and on here I film various parenting, lifestyle, health and all sorts of other bits in between. So I hope you find something you like on the channel. Today's videos I am sharing the highs and the lows of the last 12 months. I would say it's been a sort of possibly more of an up than a down year, but I may be reflecting back on that in a more positive way because the end, well, I don't know, it's been up and down. So I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to start with the lows and I'm going to end on a positive. So there were a couple of big lows this year. Sadly, there were 2 deaths within a very short space of time. One was a very close family member and one was a husband of one of my close friends. So that happened around October time, so that was probably the lowest point in our family. The first one, I was actually away at the time and found out whilst I was away with another family member, and it was pretty horrendous, to be honest. Obviously it ruined the holiday. We tried to make the most of it because we couldn't get home, and then we had to deal with all the aftermath afterwards. But just the week before that, one of my very good friends' husbands, her name is Becky, she YouTubes and blogs at Diary of a Fat Bottom Girl, and unfortunately her husband passed away, not suddenly because he'd been ill for a while, but he was expected to be around longer than he was, and he passed away very quickly the week before. So yeah, so that was not a very nice time, and those were probably the lowest points for me, at least, and probably for my family, of 2017. I think something that affected all of the country, possibly the world, definitely in my local area up north, were the Manchester bombings. It really rocked everybody. I knew it was just so close to home. It was terrifying, and that it happened to such young children. It was just awful, and I know it definitely affected me personally. It made me question sort of living in this country at all. You know, I did wonder whether we were bringing our children up in the right area, whether, you know, we really should be considering relocating. In the end, relocating wouldn't have been the right decision because we are very happy and very settled and we do love England. But I think when something happens so close to home, we're talking like half an hour down the road, it just really brings these things home for you and makes you realise how it can happen to you or anybody you know at any time. And it also, as a parent, really made me sort of worry about my children and their future and the world that they're growing up in. I think all you can do really is try and hope that they can bring positive and that you can teach them to love and to not bring this kind of negativity into the world. But that was a not very nice point of 2017 for not just myself, but I know thousands, if not millions of people out there. There's been a couple of lows of the last 12 months to do with my husband. Christmas, fortunately at Christmas he did make it and he was well, but the week before and the week after he was really poorly. And because I have a chronic illness that really affects our family, it means I have to do all the things that he does. He does help with a lot of childcare, he does the cooking, he does the dishwasher, he empties the bins. You don't realise how much your husband does, and it's been hard to almost solo parent in those times when he's been really poorly, and that's massively affected me and therefore massively affected the family. I've had a couple of points where I've sort of relapsed slightly with my chronic illness, so they have not been great. Looking back, I don't remember particularly now, but at the time I was really low in February, and I wrote a lot of posts, particularly on my Instagram page, and I was really struggling. That led to me stopping YouTube around sort of March, April time, and that was a low for me personally because blogging and YouTubing have been part of my life for 7 years now, and to actually stop and not know whether I'm going to start back up again was a really big thing for me. And in a way it hit me quite hard. I just felt like I'd failed, and another thing I'd failed on, and I felt that I'd sort of lost a part of me really, because YouTube and blogging has given me so much, and to give that up was, you know, quite a big loss really for me. And I also had another relapse in September. But there actually is a positive that came from that, which I will talk about in a little bit. And then my last low of 2017 was when John worked away, particularly around sort of, I think there was one around February, March, sort of earlier in the year, and I remember filming a video which unfortunately is no longer on my channel because I felt it was probably a little bit too personal to be sharing, but I did film a video at the time crying in my toilet because I just was struggling so much. I was really, really down at the time, and again, it's another thing that led to me giving up YouTube altogether, and that was really hard time. And it's really strange thinking about it now because I don't feel that way, but I remember in those moments feeling like nothing was going to be right ever again, and that I was never going to get any better, and this was always going to be the way. And it's really hard when you're feeling like that not to just sort of spiral down and down, get yourself really low, which I think I probably did. Fortunately, he was only a week and he did come back. I know obviously people that have partners in the armed forces or on the rigs or things like that, various other jobs that, you know, have to work away for long periods of time. I am fortunate that mostly his longest periods of time are a week, but they are very, very hard weeks. So that's my lows. Now I'm going up to the highs. We're going to finish on a positive. So I mentioned before that there was a high that led from a relapse, which is a very strange thing to say, but actually it was a real turning point for me in relation to my chronic fatigue. Is I had somewhat of a relapse in September, but I had had a relapse the year before. So because of that, I knew what to expect. I knew I was going to be very tired. I knew I wasn't going to be doing much, and that I just had to go with the flow. And I think that is probably the first time that I've actually stood back and actually accepted what was happening and let it happen without getting down and stressing about it and trying to force myself to do things I shouldn't and ending up feeling worse and just generally feeling low because I was so tired and not getting much done. So that was a big change for me from the previous 12 months, and I kind of felt really good about that, and that made me really determined to try and get on top of things with the illness and not let it rule me, which is quite difficult, but that is one of my goals for this next 12 months. So that was a positive coming from a negative, which is always good. Another high, which is an amazing one, was my dad went into remission. My dad's had cancer undiagnosed, well, from being undiagnosed up until recently. I think he's had it getting on for 10 years. He has lymphoma, but it's a very, very rare form of lymphoma, and he has undergone a lot of different treatments trying to get better. But they always said that it was not terminal, but that it would never go. He would always have it as long as he lived, and it was one that affected his day-to-day life. He had terrible rash on his skin would burn, he could do very little, there wasn't many clothes that were comfortable, he overheated or got very cold very easily, and it really affected his life and therefore my mum's life, and obviously like a ripple in a pond, it affects everybody's lives. But last year, he tried a new treatment, and within 6 weeks the cancer had left his body, which is amazing. And none of us ever thought it would happen. In fact, still don't think it's probably sunk in for us all, really. I think we're still expecting bad news at some point. But for now, he is in remission and trying to get his life back on track, and probably trying to remember what it was like before he had the cancer, because it has been a long time now. And yeah, but that's been incredible for our family and definitely a big positive. Another positive was the family time that we spent together last year. We went on holiday to Gran Canaria for 2 weeks. We had a week in Wales at our in-laws caravan and actually managed to time it when the sun was out. So that was amazing, and particularly on a nearby beach to where my in-laws caravan is, was beach huts. Colourful beach huts, and we've never been there before. I don't know why, but as sad as it is, that is one of my highlights, and it's one of the photos from those are the ones that I really remember. They're up on our wall in the living room, and they're sort of, if I sort of have a photo reel of highlights from last year, those would definitely be on it. So sadly, colourful beach huts were a highlight of 2017 for me. But yeah, we had some great family times. We tried to spend more time going out, all 4 of us as a family, on a weekend. We haven't managed to keep that up as much in the last sort of end of the year, but early to mid, we did quite a few trips out with the children, and it was really nice to all be together as a family, because I think if we don't do that, we kind of get bogged down in just general day-to-day living on a weekend, you know, food shopping, cleaning, cooking food, that we don't really actually spend much time together, all four of us. And especially for the children and John, because obviously he works through the week and he works long hours, and he's away quite a lot, so he doesn't always get to that one-on-one time with them very often. So we found it was really important to do that. So it's another thing we need to work on in the next year. I think I'm on 4 now. So the 4th one would be the children at school. Holly has always been very academic. She's always been one of the top of the class, even from being in nursery 3 years old. She's very, very bright. And we are very, very proud of her for that, because both John and I were sort of a middling to upper maybe on intelligence levels. Neither of us are geniuses by any stretch. I went to private school, so I was pushed a lot, so I have quite good grades. John received middling grades, but he is actually he's quite intelligent. He plays dumb, but he's not, he's quite clever. But she seems to have just sort of stepped it up a notch, and she's incredible. Her memory retention and just her enjoyment of school activities, of learning, it's just amazing. And you know, it just totally leaves us in awe. Jack isn't as academic as Holly, but this last 3 months in particular, he has done so well at school, and his last school report was amazing. He has gone from middle, maybe bottom of maths to nearly the top of the class in like a month's space, and that is so amazing. We are really incredibly proud of him. He's worked very, very hard and really deserves to achieve. So that's definitely a big high for both of us this year. Last year. Why can't I say this year? Last year. Blech. Finally, my last high, and one of the biggest, I don't know, they're all pretty good highs, but this is really one for me, is spending time with friends. This last 12 months has brought some brilliant friendships into my life. I already had some very close friends who I'm still very close to. I'm very, very grateful for. And 2017 brought me some amazing friendships. Becky and Shan, who I already knew, but I have got even closer to this year. We've spent lots of time together, and I would like to say that they are some of my closest friends now. I tell them so much, even though we don't get to meet up all the time, although we do try and meet up sort of once a month at least. But you know, they know tons of stuff about me. We're always talking to each other, we're always helping each other out, and you know, encouraging each other and supporting each other, and their friendship is really invaluable to me now. Another blog friend is Jess, who again I already knew, but we've met up a few more times this year, and it's really funny how we just seem to click somehow. I think the first few meets were on the quiet side, and we had conversation, but you know, it probably wasn't clicking conversation, but we really have clicked this year, and we've been to quite a few different events together. We've met up with each other, and yeah, she's just a lovely friend to have, and I really enjoy her company. And then another friend is one of the school mums. There's a few school mums that I sort of see occasionally outside of school, but there is one in particular who is Jack's best friend's mum, and I couldn't have got through this year without her, to be perfectly honest. And she says the same to me, because she's been on maternity leave, and she would have been bored without the sort of time we've spent together. But we are in very similar positions, that our families live quite far away, and her good friends as well that she grew up with. So we don't have that support network the same, and we've kind of just helped each other out. She's had the kids for me, I've had her son for her, and we've sort of gone for coffee mornings and just chatted and laughed. We've had some nights out, and yeah, that's been an incredible new friendship this year, which I am extremely grateful for. So those are my highs and my lows of 2017. Now, I would love to hear what you have been up to in the last 12 months, and are there any points in time that stand out for you as highs, because I think it's lovely to look back and think of your positive moments, and it kind of spurs you on for the next 12 months and trying to make them as positive as you want. Share it in the comments below. Now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back soon. I am planning a goals video on how I set my goals for my YouTube channel for this year, and how you can do the same. There is going to be a printable, I'm going to do a tutorial, you know, it's all a bit different, but I'm hoping that you guys like it. So thank you